Last video I covered like string methods. Array methods are very similar to like string methods. Like they have a really close relationship because like as if characters of the like string, like if each character was an element, that's what an array is like. Instead of a character, it's an element. So let's get started. First, let's make an array for all of our experiments. Well, for our arrays. Let's add a like simple element, some 1, 2, 3, 4. Um, First there's like concat, which was very similar to string ones. Like you can add to the end, so you can add like an array. So you can add like 5, 6, 7, 8. If we just console log the array and we run it, we see because most of methods are like pure, you could say, when in the functional paradigm. So you need to watch out for that. Some aren't. Some are muted. So some can mute, like some can change the values. Like some are mutable, you could say. But in this case, this one just returns a value. Um, so we need to set it to the array because we wanna like change it. Um, Now there's also array dot I mean, there's also copy within entries, but I don't want to cover those because that's a bit more complex. I'll leave that in the description though, so if you want to check it out, just go in the description. Array.fill is like a function that returns like the array but with just one value from a certain point from start and to the end. You don't have to put start or end, but they're like really, you could use them and you can't. Like it depends if you want to or not, but you can just like, because it returns a value, we need to do like this. There is now there's also array dot filter, which is very similar to others, which are like find, like slice. No, I mean and others like map and reduce, which I'll be covering in like the functional paradigm video, but like that's coming up later. A radial filter is like if you would say that we have an element, if that element matches a certain condition, so if it's equal to 2, like if this whatever this function returns, um, so equals 2, I mean equals 2, whatever it returns, it's gonna be like the condition to say if it you wanted to get it or not. So let's say let found element equal to this, and then we just do found element, and if we run this, it's, you see there's nothing, um, because array.filter is more of like, just because then in like here we used fill, so my bad. It says found element is not defined because I got rid of it. So if we just add this and remove that, like so, because it didn't find any due to there not being any 2's, because we like replaced it. You could say like we filled it. You need to be careful when you like do these changes to the array, because they can be like, if you don't read one line of code, it can lead to like the whole array changing up completely. Here it finds it. Now let's say array dot there's also find, which is very similar, but it's like finding 1. So we could say equals 2. So let's do let found element equals to that, and here we get like I just returned 1. Instead of like if there were to be many that were the same, because filter, like if you were to have many of the same value, then it just put them in an array. Meanwhile, find is finding the first one. You could say. So if we did 2, for example, here, it only returned the first one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now array dot let's see, find index is like finding the index of the element that matches the condition. So we could say array dot it says, oh yes, because I forgot, element equals, and if we run this, we can see here that the first one, it's as with like index of, it finds the first one, last index of is like the last. So let's see, there's also array dot for each, like it's for every element in the array. What do you want to do? It's non-mutable function, so you can't modify values. You can't say like equals to, you don't do that. You can you could say console.log e, for example, but yeah, it's like, just note that you can't change values inside of the array. It says found element is not defined because I don't need that. And here you see it logs them. Now you can add them to lists or modify them in whatever way you want. Just you can't change the array with for each. Like for each is a higher order function with like with filter, find index. So are many because they're also pure, and yeah, just that. Includes is like returns a true or false if it has like that element, you could say. So if it has, does it include the element one? It does. Does it now index of would be like the first index of certain number. For example, here we could say 3, which would return 2 because 0, 1, 2. Like arrays start with the element 0, element 1, element 2. 0, 1, 2. Here we see it's that index of it. Now, array dot, there's also join, which is the opposite of split. I covered last video, which was about like splitting from arrays to like strings to arrays back to strings. Now if we run this, you can see that works. Now, like it just, for every space, like for every gap between the numbers, there's like gonna do something with it. So you can say, instead of space, you can say a, so it's gonna be in between every element, but not after every element, in between every element. There's array dot, let's see, there's last index of, which would be the last index of a certain, you could say, element. So here would get the last index, not the first one. Remember this, if there were to be a middle element, that wouldn't really go into the like it wouldn't, you can't really find it. You need to do like a for loop, and like a bit more of like other stuff. Array.length is the length of them. It's a property. It's like the length of how many elements there are. Map is a function that can take up, is basically like another for each, but not exactly. Just yeah, like e const e. Here you see like does the thing. Because it doesn't list the values like it did with for each, it like kind of did in an array. Now there's also pop, which oh wait, before I get into push, pop is it's a mutable function, so it's not pure. I'll cover pureness and impureness with the functional paradigm video, which will be coming soon. It just removes the last element, and push is the opposite. It adds an element. So here we see it adds an element. Now, array dot reduce would be very similar to map, but not exactly, because otherwise there wouldn't be an array reduce. It's just like basically the first element. Um, like here it says for all the elements, blah blah blah. I'll put it in the description. Just and there's also reverse, which would reverse the thing. This is mutable, so like it's a mutable one. I think they're since this is mutable, like shows that it's um like turquoise, so you can distinguish it. It like reversed the array. That's pretty cool. Now there's also shift, which is like also mutable, so it removes like the first instead of the last. This can be useful for many things if you wanna like um shift and then push at the back or something like that. It really just depends. Now slice returns like a part of the array. Like if you were to slice a cake from point A to point B, what would you get? Or just from point A forward, what would you get? So here it says like 2, 3, 4. Like here's because we could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we could do like 4. So it'd be like only this. Now it's like if you were to slice a cake, as I said. Some is like more of um more another version of map reduce and all of that stuff. I'll be covering it later on. But right now let's not worry about it. Sort. It's a higher order function that takes in um like takes in a function. So if we did array dot sort a comma b and then a minus b, that's like the rule, we could say. Like whatever it returns is the rule. So if we did that, it'd be that way. Now here we see it's like it's just an algorithm that it uses. So you could say like 3 1 4 1 3 2, for example, and it just fixes it. Yeah, this is like it returns. So I mean, this in this case, it's kind of actually it doesn't return it because no, it doesn't return. Um, now, splice removes an element. Like if you were to splice it, like get a slice and remove it. So from 1 on forward, you'd see that it does like it returns here. It returns what it removed, and here is the result. Now array dots to local upstring, which to string would be like to string would make it a string, and to local upper string would do it to a certain language. Now unshift is the opposite of shift. It just adds an element to the array or elements. Here you see the length. It returns the length. This is mutable, so yeah, just note that it needs to return something basically when it's made by like the defaults. So here, yeah, it says it just returns the values which you can iterate upon. Like dot next and dot return. There's some more complicated stuff. You could say like value for just some more more complex stuff. That's been array methods. I'll be putting the methods in the description, as I said. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.